Hi, welcome. I almost said good morning, but it is 2:08 p.m. on Thursday, November 13th. Uh, and I had blocked the morning because I had a meeting and I went to Qigong practice. I just got back from there and got to my studio, folding linens, and I'm going to take a break to do a reading that I started to do yesterday. I recorded it. I scrapped it because it was one of those readings that was I won't even mention the topic in case it comes up today because it's been there. You know how last week I said there was a theme of perceived versus real threats, real threat to ourselves, and that theme came up over and over again last week. This week the theme has been transitions. So I'm not going to go into what the other reading was all about, but I had pushed pause because I had to go somewhere and said, if I feel like it, I'll get back to it tomorrow. Well, when I got here, I was like, I want to start over. So there you go. You got to go with the feelings. I will, however, use these cards again because I haven't explored all of them yet. So I'm really curious about the beautiful artwork and what we might find showing up today. And if it's even related to transitions. The word, I'm not even going to say anything. We'll just see if it comes up. Thank you for being here. All right. So what are the couple of energies we're really dealing with at the moment or that are asking us to contemplate? Okay. We have the Queen of Swords. Literally, that came up in the last reading I did this morning. And the Wheel of Fortune. Ooh. I kind of wanted to keep the prior reading just because of the two cards that showed up. It was Sun and Moon. Hello. That was a whole thing. So anyway, that's not what showed up today. We have the Queen of Swords. And she is on top of like a hot air balloon that's like a kind of a building with windows, and there's a whole bunch of birds around and sitting in the windowsills, and she's holding a bird, and her dress is made of feathers, and she's looking through not a telescope, maybe it's a telescope, out ahead of where she might be going. And the balloon is coming up through the trees. There's a whole bunch of symbolism here, and there's a starry kind of a night sky behind her. So we have the Queen of Swords, and then crossed by the Wheel of Fortune. And she has I love this photo. I have seen it before. She's got all the machinery under her dress, like all these wheels, the cogs and the machinery, the wheels in motion. And the Wheel of Fortune is that it's always moving, right? It never stops. And it's all about what we perceive it to be, about whether we feel like we're on top or whether we're on the bottom. Meaning, kind of Wheel of Fortune might make you think of, do I feel lucky? Is something good going on in my life? Is something bad? And is that like a pattern I'm repeating? But there's something here that's calling my attention, and that's the heart is kind of caught in one of those cogs, and it's almost like, how does that heart of hers relate to being bound up in the machinery? And I wonder if something's calling us to set our heart free from maybe old patterns. Okay, so we'll see. These old cycles that keep repeating. I don't know. The Queen of Swords, she looks like she is on a journey and looking ahead to where this is taking her. What's interesting to me is how there's like the geometry here with a perfect circle, and then you have all these perfect tiny rectangles and kind of a triangular, like this is very, it feels a little like perfectionism, and I don't know why that I would say that other than like the perfect shapes. Yet she almost seems like she wants to be set free because of the wings, and like she's like, but where am I going? Like, how I want to go to there in the voice of Tina Fey in 30 Rock. But all these things taking flight, and it's built into her dress, and she's sitting on the top of all this structure that's like, okay, maybe it's has taken her to a point in life, like it's raised her to this elevation where now she can like sit comfortably on it and look ahead and kind of want to now take flight. So what could that mean? And sometimes the Queen of Swords, she's like pretty confident as a queen. She has a lot of those inner strength characteristics. She also has this characteristic of like being very discerning and kind of questioning people's intentions before she lets them close to her. I don't know if that'll come up in the reading, but there's definitely an overall feeling here of setting ourselves free for what? I don't know. So let's get a few more cards as we take a sip of our tea. And see what will come up. I hadn't gone to Qigong practice in a long time, and it was really lovely to be back with the group that practices every week. And kind of like nothing had changed, no time had passed. We kind of went back to basics, which I appreciated, and did the 5 elements movements for joy and contentment and gratitude and happiness, and the movements that kind of how you embody those characteristics or those elements. So it was wonderful right in the middle of the day. So I'm going to keep blocking my Thursday midday to do that, because man, what a great wind down to the end of the week, you know? So what's the story arc here? What is this a case of something asking us to free ourselves from something, or free ourselves up to bring in something new to land within us, to take root? I'm curious. Are you? Okay. We have the Page of Wands. Look at them. These people keep looking through telescopes and magnification. And look at the bird imagery again. What is happening? That feels, when I see that, the things that jump out to me, like the connecting the dots, it feels like some confirmation of what we've been talking about. The cool thing with the pages are their sense of curiosity. And I say cool because I think it's one of the coolest traits you can have as a person, is to stay open and curious. And so I love when we get the pages, because something's like, when you think about the energies within each tarot card that are asking us to tap into or to be aware of how they might influence us, but the ones that tap into, I think, man, pages with their joyful, youthful curiosity are like such a superpower to like harness. So that curiosity, and it's like that magnifying the sight, like bringing things closer, inspecting, examining. So let's see what we're examining. And the wands being like that really kind of inspiration energy. It's like excitement. I want to say that. No freaking way. Remember when at the beginning, when this is a card that came up in the reading that I scrapped, and when I put it away, I was like, damn, I don't want to put this away because I want that card to come back. And it came back. And remember at the start of the reading, I almost said a word and I'm like, nope, not going to say it. Portal. Portal was the word. And when I thought of transitions, this thought of portal came up, and then this card was drawn. And hello, does that not look like a portal that guy is jumping through? It's like a ring of fire. But I was thinking of portals, how when there's a transitory period or a transition in our lives, I want to think of it like a portal instead of something hard that we're going through. And I'll just cut to the chase, because I think this is part of the reason why I wanted to scrap yesterday's reading, is because I was just like, there was just so much coming in that I was like, face melt, it was just overwhelming. But to cut to the chase with portals, the beauty of a portal, I feel like, is, you know how here it looks like you can see the before and the after of going through the portal, but in like movies where they depict going into a portal, or like a TV show, or like probably like, what is that, Doctor Who? I don't. Matt has made me watch an episode. He loves it so much. I like the ideas. I just didn't get into it. I'm sure someday. So anyway, I'm sure they talk about portals, and I think they fly in the TARDIS, right? And they go through portals. I don't know. So anyway, the beauty of portals is like it looks like this from the outside. Like if you're just staring at a portal, you kind of see both sides, and you're like, "What's the big deal?" You go into a portal, and it's a whole world within itself. It's not just bleeping from one side to the next within the same space. It's you're going through a much bigger space, like within this period, within this transition. So I like to think of transitions as what, like dwelling in a new space for a while that isn't where you've been or even where you're going, because you oftentimes don't know what the future holds when you're like, there's an abrupt change. Let's say you lose a job or you quit a job, and then you kind of like, oh my God, what's next? You know, or you've already found another job, and you're just like the unknown of what's coming, right? Well, this middle ground, and it doesn't even have to be jobs, it could be relationships, it could be illness, it could be whatever, because change is constant, change is all around us. It's only our weird perception that tries to lock us in time, like lock things still in time. Like, okay, I can see both sides of this, so I know exactly where I'm going and how to get there. No, we don't. And treating like this transition period is not something scary, but is like something exciting. So like, look at this, like exploration energy is here. Look at them with their cape, and they look like a detective, and they're bringing things closer into view, and still there's flight happening, like our imagination's taking flight, like dreaming up the what could be, because we're just examining what's here right now, like treating, I think the word liminal came up yesterday, like the liminal space when you're going over a bridge. That was another word, because the transition is like we're on the bridge, we've left the other shore, we may not even be able to see the shore that is eventually coming up. So why not treat this bridge as like a space within itself to explore? So that's fine and well for metaphors, but how it applies to our daily lives, that's for you to discern. And well, think about discernment. Queen of Swords is here. She's looking ahead, maybe to the other shore. And maybe the pitfall is like, I know where I've been. It's been pretty structured. I can rely on that structure. It's lifted me. It's gotten me to this point. But I'm ready to kind of tap into that exploration and excitement energy and get it more inspired in this journey. Like, what is around me to explore? Do I want to develop a new skill, have a new hobby, make new friends? Like, when things are shaken up, take the opportunity to shake up even more, perhaps, because I don't know, that might feel too overwhelming. I don't know. Each of us are different, but I think of it as an opportunity, because it's like, if we were in a structure, and that's where I'm going to go with this, because that's what jumped out to me right away, is this, her old landscape was very structured. I even think about this, look, it's very structured, very rigid, like keeping us locked in time, locked in these patterns. And then if we can look, if something is being shaken up, but we kind of have relied on that structure a little too much, like as a sense of safety, of knowing, of routine, why not shake it up and treat it as an opportunity, versus like being scared because that structure is now going away? It's like, what else might come up when an old structure goes down? right? What else might I build? What else might I explore? And I'm going to go with that because this is about exploration and going into a portal. We don't know where the portal's going to spit us out, right? So explore the wonder of going through the portal. Okay, enough with the metaphors. And then we have the Ten of Swords. Whoa. They've got like all these needles. Look how rigid her hair looks even. And they've got like needles poking, 10 needles poking into her hairdo. She doesn't look all that thrilled about it. But the Ten of Swords is usually one of like, our mind has gone bonkers a little bit. Like the thoughts are overwhelming. There's so much judgment that happens with swords. So it's like, and maybe trying to discern the proper path forward, and it's just overwhelming. Like when you're like, I gotta stop thinking about this because it's just, I'm not getting anywhere, not having any solutions come to me by staying locked in this pattern of overthinking. And the Ten of Swords is also one of feeling like, man, it's been hard, but I am grateful for my path. Like there is a little bit of gratitude showing up with the Ten of Swords, like treating everything as a blessing. Maybe not everything, but trying to treat things as a blessing, because where you've been has led you right to this moment. Maybe you made a choice to make a change and now you're like, uh-oh, what'd I do? It's scary, right? Because the new thing hasn't yet emerged. So I feel like that's what this is about. A change is happening. Got the Wheel of Fortune here. Where will it fall? I don't know where we're going. There's just been a structure in my life, and that might be going away. There's certain, when I say structure, I mean the way things have been that I have become accustomed to, for better or for worse. Now, without that, this is asking us to be open and curious and more exploratory. That like, ooh, opportunity is the word. Go through the portal with that Knight of Wands, because again, more wands is like excitement, inspiration, energy, and the knights are the ones that take action. So it's like the page is a messenger saying the time has come for you to embody or bring in this sense of joyful, opportunistic curiosity, like what could be here, and then take the step into the portal. And the Ten of Swords, man, we got to get some clarifications, because with that coming up, it's like, this might be a bumpy road, and that's okay. The Wheel of Fortune sometimes brings that about, because it's like, wee, and things get shaken up. So I think the Ten of Swords is here just to say things are shaken up. Look how structured her hairdo is. And like, it actually has hurt her, like to have to put all these pins in her hair just to keep it in that structure. So you can use that as a little metaphor. Like, yeah, I like things just how I like them, but doesn't that hurt? Don't you know, if you're one of those people, you deep down, you just want to burn it all down and rip off your bra and be like, yeah, I just know it. Unless you're a guy and you don't wear a bra, maybe you do, whatever. That's just just an example of like setting things free. Because that was what we started with. Like, something's asking us to set our heart free and set our minds free. Okay, now, where are we going? You know what? I kind of like these guys for this whole exploration energy, because I think a lot of that imagery kind of comes up in the artwork in here. So I just wish I could remember what these are called so I could give them credit. And I used to post links to all the cards in case people liked them and wanted to get them on Amazon. But that's a lot of work to do that, so I don't do it anymore because I have so many decks. It's like I used to pull out the links specific to the decks I used in each reading, but that was time consuming, and I have way too many decks to post the full list. Oh my god, that would be mean to give you that many things because it'd be for a very few number of people. So if you ever want to know what the decks are, reach out. I'll give you a link. Okay. I'm really curious about all of this, but if something wants to be known by me, it's what about this Ten of Swords? Because it showed up at the end. It's like, this feels almost like stepping through the portal might be a little rocky. So what can we tap into to learn what we need to learn through that rockiness? Because the Ten of Swords says, counting all that rockiness, all those swords as blessings. So how might we begin to do that? Okay. Well, the sun is here. Optimism for sure. Of course, that showed up. That's awesome. We have the Six of Swords. That is typically what people say. It's like, that's the healing journey from going. It's like going through a portal, actually. It's usually going from the rocky waters to the calm waters, right? So just keep that in mind, because that's the center card, really. And then we have the Princess of Swords, which is the Page of Swords. Okay, curiosity, like enthusiasm coming in hot again. So lots of swords showing up, and now we've got clarifications about the short swords. I love it. So when we have the Six of Swords right here in the center of the clarification, when I asked about the Ten of Swords, like, what are we supposed to learn from, or how do we start to treat things as blessings? Well, when we first frame it in the context of inner healing, well, hell yeah, that's a blessing, because we want to get rid of all the things that have made us want to cling to that rigid structure. Like, oh, things got to be a certain way, because they may not have been healthy for us. But just because it's the devil we know doesn't mean it's the devil we want. I don't know. Anyway, so I think that's here to say why we're treating it as a blessing, because it's inner healing, and that's what we came here to do as humans. Okay, so I mean, that's my belief. It's all about, like, we take on these ideas of who we should be and what we should do in this life, and then the second half of life is about getting rid of all that. I swear to God, it's not just my life, but whatever that turning point is, the point you go through your own portal, it's turning the corner from taking on other people's ideas, adopting them from society, social media, culture. You know how it is. We just get ingrained with, like, and it's so subtle. All the time we think we're an independent thinker, and yet before any form of like awakening, it's like, oh my God, no, I've just been brainwashed like anybody else. And then when we reclaim our brains and reclaim our hearts, like these cards are saying, then it's like, I'm going through the portal and I need to do some healing, which means shedding all that conditioning that I brought on myself and that was put on me. Like, get rid of it. And it's hard because it's so subtle and seeps into all our crevices. Okay, so the two things here to tap into during that healing journey is optimism and enthusiasm, and more curiosity with the Page of Swords. The Page of Swords, it says, is a enthusiasm for learning. And what I love when this comes up with any form of healing card next to it is like, what am I going to learn about myself by going through this portal of transformation, from transition from one part of life to another, from one way of being to another. Like, I'm dropping old habits, old behaviors. Like, I'm really enthusiastic for what I can learn about myself. And that's a way to treat everything that brought you to this moment and made you who you are as a blessing. Because it's like, ooh, what do I get to learn about myself? About why I chose to go through those things. Chose being a loose term. We may not think we chose it, but all the conditions in our life amounted to us going through things. And so how do we get here? That's for you to decide. And then, of course, the sun is just pure, joyful optimism, hope, and the fullest expression of your authenticity. So with these two things, what are you curious about learning about yourself? So how to me, when I say that, learning about myself means learning my authentic self and how to express that. So that's what's showing up here in the clarification. So that's really what this journey is about, from the Page of Wands, of curious, exploratory time in life. Like I'm a detective, like, ooh, what am I going to find? It's like, then the night, as I take an action going into this portal of transition and transformation. And then the 10 of Swords being like, oh man, it's more than I bargained for, but I'm ready, and here's what I'm going to learn. And it's a self-healing journey. So that's what we got. I do kind of want to get a little bit more. So you know what? Something's telling me to use these kitty cat cards. I almost pulled the other. This is called Cat Tarot. My box is over there. I have so many now cat tarot decks. I had no idea there were that many to have. So my husband got me 2 for Christmas, and I'm like, what? I didn't even think about looking for cat tarot, and that's my jam. And then the others kept coming into my life. This is one of them that's kind of fun. So we've got that. When I think about curiosity and cats, and this is very much a curiosity-inspired reading. Now what are we curious about? I feel like we already know the angsty stuff came up in the reading. We know what we're going to go through. It's different for each of us. We just know it might be a little hard. But it's all for the right reasons, because we're shedding old conditioning. I kind of want to know a little bit more about what type of conditioning might show up, because we're full of all kinds. All of us are full of all kinds. So maybe we'll get a flavor of like what to watch out for as we go through this time. Because as we have those signs, it's like, this is what you should be paying attention to, then we can kind of anchor to that to bring about more of that shedding, more of that healing. Because if it's too wide open, we might miss the signals, right? The signs about like, this is it. This is what it's about. Use this as an opportunity. Like, I think of triggers as opportunities. So like, what triggers? I'm curious if we'll find out what triggers are. Yeah, I think of those as opportunities to like, oh, something big just hit me. I got mad. Let's examine it. Okay, let's see if there are any. I want to say triggers, but it's not just that. It's like, what are those opportunities to what are those signs to watch out for? We have the 4 of Pentacles. It takes me a while because these symbols, I'm not used to them as much. So there's this cat looking at its 4 treats. And then we have the 8 of Pentacles. And then we have the Page of Swords again. Oh my gosh. You know, it's funny. Oh, it's because it's not a number. And it's like, where's the symbol? The Page of Swords. So that's funny. We got the Page of Swords literally lined up right under the other Page of Swords. So what I'm seeing here is like some things to watch out for. I'll treat these as the triggers, okay? The things to watch out for, like the things that if this doesn't resonate with you, you do your own healing. But if these resonate with you, these might be the signs. So the 4 of Pentacles being like, what challenges your sense of stability, security, and belonging? Do you feel like the outsider? Do you feel financially unstable, and that's what triggers you into like anxiety? What is it for you with the words stability, security, and belonging that if challenged really is like, oh, right? That's something to watch out for. Like, do you feel like things have to be a certain way in order for you to be able to breathe? Do you feel like I have to have this certain amount of configuration of things in my life, relationship, job, and everything's got to be just right? Because there's a lot of perfectionism also, I think, as a under like the subtext of this reading, especially because that's coming through, and the Eight of Pentacles, which feels like mastery over something, which isn't all bad actually. It's like good to develop skills and feel like you're gaining confidence in an area. This is also one of saying, like, is it a little too regimented? Is it a little, do you have this, like, do you use the word perfect? Watch out for that word. Like, be aware of that as a sign. Like, when people say perfect, does it rub you the wrong way? Or when you say it, and like, ooh, why am I using that word so much? Like perfectionism, right? Because does it really do us much good? Does it do more harm than good in our lives? That's for you to say. There's also um, the warning would here for what to watch out for would also be transitions are not necessarily linear. So if we expect, this is all about expectations too when I think of perfectionism. So if I expect something to be linear, I'm going from A to Z, that's not usually reality, right? Things are just happening, and only in hindsight can we tell how windy our path really was, right? Well, it's only in hindsight, because I look back at my life and I'm like, what? There's no way I could have planned this. There's no way I could have ever expected linear and then look back and be like, hell no. And yet maybe it was linear. Like, what does that even mean? Right? Page of Swords is also, if I want to say yes, it's about the enthusiasm for learning. Now, in this clarification, I think of like when we let our excitement like take the lead, and then it's like, wait a minute, that's called bypassing, right? And when we only want the good stuff out of this journey, because I only say that because this Ten of Swords is saying, something's going to be challenging, and we got to go through that healing slash shedding process of conditionings, who we take ourselves to be, and who we're becoming. And so the Page of Swords, if we're just all caught up in the yay, let's hurry up and get there, because swords are like fast air energy, and the pages are like, so like, yes, I'm so excited, let's do it. And it's like that could be bypassing all the stuff we're being asked to really examine. So just slow down a little bit. So watch within ourselves, like, do I feel like I'm trying to get through something, to jump through the portal and not like have this windy portal path, or just run over the bridge, whatever metaphor you want to use. Okay, so those are the things: stability, security, well-being, or belonging. Like, what do I need in place? Does it have to be just right? What are my expectations that I put upon myself in order to feel like, okay, I feel okay, you know? And then that idea of perfectionism and linear thinking, like, no, things are windy as hell. And then the trying to bypass, just get to the other side. Watch out for that speediness. Like when things feel like they're speeding up, we're like, oh, I just got to get through it. Slow down. So those are the things that came up for this. Oh my God, what are we going to title this one? I'll let you know. Let me know if you have any questions or want to share what your transition period is looking like. If I had to think, let's think for a moment. You can just turn this off if you don't care. I just have extra time, so I like to chat and really explore and go deeper. So with this, if I was in a transition period in my life, oh, I know what it is, because it came up big time this week. There's this, I went through, my whole life has been transition periods, haven't we all? Like, this sucker never stops turning. So for me, I switched careers a couple years ago. So that whole, from COVID then to 2023 was a transition of like a trust fall of like, I'm giving up a really high paying career and I don't know what's next. And I took time off. I've never done that before. So that was a transition where I really like, whoa, really pulled my rug out from under my own feet and said, so it's like I kind of went to the deep end with that, like to the extreme. I didn't plan it. I was just like, nope, I'm done. I'm burnt out. And I don't know what's next. So that was its own thing. And then when I thought I knew what was next, like I went into massage and I've been learning and exploring and loving it and building my business and moving locations a couple times. And there's just been constant momentum, constant learning of continuing education, trying to figure out what niche, is that how you say it? Niches, like modalities I really feel called to offer. And luckily I've built some of that momentum. But man, my bones are old. More like my tendons and my joints and my ligaments and my tendon sheaths and like everything hurts. Everything hurts. And so I'm doing more self-care, but the damage is done. I spent 25 plus years at a computer, right? So I'm in a transition period now of like, well, okay, glad I did what I did moving into this career. Glad I'm exploring all the sub culture of it, like different modalities that fit under the umbrella of body work. Because now I'm going to have to transition into those more subtle modalities because I had to set a boundary with myself this week, and maybe that's part of a transition process is like re-examining boundaries. And I was like, I cannot continue to hurt myself in order to help others. That's not how it works, right? You fill your cup first and you take care of your own well-being first so that you can pour that out onto others, into others. So I'm like, yeah, I know that. And yet for the past 2 years, I've been hurting myself to help others. So my body, it said, like, there's a saying like, listen to your body when it whispers so it won't have to scream. Well, my body started screaming this week in a very concerning way. So I was like, oh my God. It was like, this wrist, which is already compromised. But so I knew there was a problem, but I was like blind eyeing it, like, that's okay. So anyway, my transition, just to share that with you, is one of like, oh my God, I set out, it's already a sketchy situation with like reducing my income by like orders of magnitude and wondering like how I'm going to make this work. And then it's like, oh my God, now the biggest portion of my bread and butter is I'm going to have to hold firm to a boundary that says like, I'm doing all I can to make sure I don't hurt myself. And yet it's inevitable. The burnout rate in this field is so high. I knew that. I was eyes wide open going in, So I knew the risks. And yet this transition period still brings up feelings of like, oh no. Like, where's my footing? What's it going to be like? I can't see the other side yet. Right? So it's like I'm having all these feelings. And so it's like the 10 of Swords, yeah, it hurts, but it's been a blessing because I think about, for me, I don't feel like I was really meant to like just do massage, muscle focused body work. That's not my jam. I knew that going into it. It wasn't going to be my jam. I enjoy people who it is their jam because I like going to them so they can push on my muscles. But I know that's not my jam, but I'm glad I have that foundation. And yet, so that's a blessing that my body woke up and started screaming a little bit at me because it was finally like, hold firm to your damn boundary, right? It's time to make a change. And usually when we're called to make a change, it's almost like a trust fall, like that faith thing people talk about. Like, you just got to trust that things will work out as they're meant to work out. and that you'll still be able to support yourself or find ways. And so I feel ya if you're going through anything similar or any transition, because I feel like they all have some of those elements, don't they? So there's a lot of commonalities, and it's all showing up here in the reading. What do I'm questioning myself, because I'm treating like all of this is a blessing that got me here, because now I have the foundation for who knows what's to come. You have a foundation that you're launching from, and I'm getting all the chills because I feel like that's why she came up. Remember when we said this structure rose her to this point where now she can look out ahead and say, what do I want? Where am I going? What's next? I want to take flight. I don't want to just keep doing this if I'm not meant to be doing it. But now I can, like, we stand on the shoulders of giants kind of thing. It's like we stand on our own foundation that we've built that's lifted us to a point, and now we can be like, oh, okay, now I've got something to launch from. So what is yours? I have to ask myself, well, what do I need to shed? Maybe I need to shed this repeating pattern of not holding firm to my own damn boundaries. So that could be something, because man, I've been doing boundary work for about 4 years now. When I started realizing what it even was, maybe 3, maybe it's not even been that long, it just feels longer. So anyway, enough jibber jabber. I just wanted to share a real life example, because like I said, I think that's where these readings are going to start going, is just more real practical. I don't know, I just want to ground it in like realness for me, for us, because I love watching other people do tarot readings. I've kind of gotten away from it as I've gotten other interests, but what I enjoyed was like there's a lot of woo-woo talk, and I do it myself, like talking in esoteric like circles, because there's something energetic about like anchoring in. At least for me, it feels like this, and then anchoring it down into like real grounded way, the groundedness of our physical reality. Our lives are real. They're, like stuff that we can anchor into, not just woo-woo talk. And I don't necessarily like the word woo-woo, but that's just to cut to the chase. Like the spiritual mumbo jumbo talk that's the internet's filled with it. And it feels good to listen to it, because like part of our inner soul really connects to it. There's some truth to it, right? It's all truth. But it's like something about me just wants to anchor it into like this firmness. In some way. And it might just be my own, for me to be like, okay, now what do I do with it? What's the practicality? What do I need to examine? And that's different for each of us. So sometimes it helps to talk woo-woo, because it's so broad and so esoteric, I guess that's the word of the day, that our souls hear it, right? But then something also wants real life practical steps and like ideas and pointers about how to get at it, how to get in there, right? And work with it. So that's where I think more of these will probably be going, but who knows? Who's to say? Well, thank you for being here, and best of luck in your going through the portal, whatever your portal is, and spitting out on the other side, all fresh and new and all healed up. Anyway, thank you. Bye.